Show up yesterday. I had the repeat going of just plugging the show, Emil Amok, Lost NPR host, which is coming. It's coming to San Francisco, August 12th, Saturday, 7 p.m., Thursday, August 7th, 8:30 p.m., and Saturday, August 19th at 1 p.m. We're not scared. We're not scared of the city. We're going to go down and see you live, Emil. I know you've been in your closet all these years, and you're going to come out of the closet and talk about Emil Amok, Lost NPR host. What is that about? Well, let's see. Manhattan Digest says, exposes America's ugly colonization of the Philippines, along with other comical, candid too, but comical and often profound observations. Oh my God. Am I related to this? No, I'm not. Manhattan Digest. It was a reviewer. Must see for anyone who cares about human rights and social justice. Now, this was a reviewer who saw the show in February. What would he say now? Other reviewers of the show, when I did the show in Orlando at the Orlando Fringe, the Orlando Weekly said, enjoy trying to keep pace with Guillermo's brilliant mind. Funny, poignant. With the comment or my show? That's the Orlando Weekly. And then DC Metro Theater Arts, when I did the show at the Capitol Fringe, or an iteration, they said charismatic. And they weren't referring to the horse. They were referring to Emil Amok, my Amok monologues. I'm doing Lost NPR host. I did it at the Frigid Fringe in New York. I'm doing it at the San Francisco Fringe. 3 shows only, Saturday, August 12th, 7 p.m., Thursday, August 17th, 8:30 p.m., and Saturday, August 19th at 1 p.m. Get your tickets. You can buy them at the door, 277 Taylor Street, or get the link at amok.com. Go there, get the link. It'll take you to Eventbrite, or go to Eventbrite and buy your tickets. I'll hold up the QR code. Can you? I don't think you can get the QR code. It's kind of, can't really get. If you can get the QR there, I'm holding it up there so you can get the QR code. And, but it'll take you to eventbrite.com. But check it out. The 12th, 17th, 19th, tickets are really affordable. Extremely affordable. All right, so that's the plug of my show. You can get a full plug if you listen to episode 568. That's going to be repeating. But I couldn't stay away. Considering all the we are now in full indictment mode with the third indictment, and it's a different indictment from the other two. It's a Trump. If you're getting Trump fatigue or Trump indictment fatigue, don't, because we got a fourth one in Georgia coming up, and then we'll have everything and an election. And we'll see just how screwed up America is. So I was just going to play my plug for my show, but I couldn't stay away. I mean, considering the lies that were exposed by that indictment, and then just to show you how I try to be equivocal in my approach, I watch the conservative media as well as the liberal media and read the liberal papers and even the conservative websites and the websites of the conservative papers. And they seem to think that this is a First Amendment issue for Donald Trump. You know, he has a right to say, well, that's what the special prosecutor said. He's got a right. But he doesn't have a right to act on it. And that's the difference between where your First Amendment starts and where it ends. The Republicans are talking about, they're politicizing. They're not politicizing. Well, first of all, if you say it's all politics, Jack Smith is independent. He's an independent counsel. He's not the Justice Department. So anyway, we have we're making it clear just how at loggerheads America is. And so I wrote my piece. It's on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog. And I thought I would share it with you. Emil Guillermo, the third indictment and your voting rights, because that's really at the heart of this and why I had to share it with you, because it made me think of my father. My father, who was a fry cook for most of his life, fry cook most of his life in union restaurants in San Francisco. He didn't have much, but he did have the right to vote. And after coming here to America as a colonized Filipino, barred from voting, he managed to become a U.S. citizen later in life, which earned him the only real opportunity he ever had in this country. With the vote, my father had a voice in our democracy. Take away the vote, you take away America. And that's really at the heart of this latest indictment, the third, filed in federal district court in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. More than the previous two indictments involving the payment of hush money to an adult film star in New York, or the mishandling of classified documents in Florida, and the obstruction involved in trying to keep prosecutors from knowing what was going on. This third indictment was for crimes against democracy. I mean, what else do you call it when a president loses an election and does whatever he can to stay in power, to the point of negating all the votes cast for the winner, Joe Biden? It's an outrageous ploy, and it's all outlined in that historic 45-page document. Go to the bottom of that ALDEF blog page, and you can get a link to the. It's only 45 pages. It's dense, it's thick, but it's full of why Donald Trump should not just be indicted, but maybe prosecuted and found guilty. I mean, we don't have all the evidence. It's the outline, but it's the first ever indictment to allege federal crimes committed by a sitting U.S. president. Maybe sometimes he was standing, but it's the first. The first three counts allege Trump's conspiracy to defraud the United States by spreading lies about winning the 2020 election that he knowingly lost. Funny how in all the defense from all his allies, does anyone ever come out and say, he won the election? He won. They know he didn't. They know he did. Now, no one's is. Did you hear anyone just flat out, bald face say, yeah, he won the election? Come on, we all know that. We know he didn't. So the indictment further alleges Trump used dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to impair, obstruct, and defeat the lawful government function by which the results of the presidential election are collected, counted, and certified by the federal government. So I include the language. So you see, there are laws here that were broken. The second and third counts allege Trump entered a conspiracy to corruptly obstruct and impede the January 6th congressional proceeding, certifying the election. There's that word again, obstruction. That's what he did. He obstructed. Now, he just had to try. He didn't have to succeed in what he did. Because someone might say, well, Joe Biden won, so like, what's the big deal? No harm, no foul. There was a lot of harm. The obstruction, that's a key point. But really, it's the fourth count that's the gut punch to our democracy. The indictment alleges Trump engaged in a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted, a violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 241. It's part of the civil rights law that's been used historically against the Klan from stopping the black vote. In this modern context, it raises the seriousness of Trump's alleged actions. If you were one of the 81 million Americans who voted for the winning Biden-Harris ticket, Trump was doing all he could to keep your vote from counting in order to stay in power. Trump and his cronies The first time I ever used cronies, I was talking about Ferdinand Marcos in the 80s. But you got cronies now. Trump has cronies. They like to claim he's the victim in this new indictment. But the real victims are those 81 million Americans. So the indictment is crafted in a way that makes it hard to imagine Trump's defense. It takes away First Amendment defense by saying Trump has a right to lie about an election. It says right there in the indictment, he's got a right to lie. Like claiming there were 10,000 dead voters in Georgia or hundreds of undocumented voters in Arizona, both in the indictment, claimed by Trump cronies, by Trump himself, both were lies. Trump also has a right to challenge an election and ask for a recount. That's the legal way to go about having a disagreement with the election process. What Trump doesn't have is the right to obstruct a vote certification, a process that he included the creation of false slates of electors from various states in place of real ones to certify a fake election in Congress, the one where he wins, a fake election. The indictment isn't focused on Trump's speech, but on his actions. The indictment also doesn't charge insurrection, though we all know what we saw from the videos taken that day and from hundreds of felony convictions of participants so far. Instead, the charges focus on Trump's pressuring Vice President Mike Pence to overturn the decertification process on January 6th with the insurrection as a backdrop. The timeline on page 33, you can download the indictment. Go to the ALDEF page, aldef.org/blog. It shows how Pence told Trump as early as Christmas Day, I don't think I have the authority to change the outcome. Pence is telling Trump that. But Trump wouldn't have it because his head believes that, hey, I could do whatever I want. I'm president. He continued to press Pence, even berating him for opposing a lawsuit to block certification of the lost election. Pence said he thought there was no constitutional basis for it, and Trump allegedly replied, "You're too honest." Those 3 words, "You're too honest." That should shake you when you read the indictment. More than 2 years after January 6, 2021, Trump continues to have a grip on the Republican Party. This week, a New York Times Marist College poll put Trump ahead of all Republican candidates with 54%, 43 points in front of his nearest rival, Governor Ron DeSantis, who defended Trump yesterday by saying, oh, yeah, this is the weaponization of government, weaponization of the First Amendment. Don't buy this weaponization garbage. Meanwhile, Pence, who was too honest for Trump and for some Republican voters, he just has 3% in that poll. Pence may or may not still be in the race when he most assuredly testifies against his old boss, who is likely to be the Republican nominee for president. Also that Trump almost certainly will not be testifying. What? And risk perjuring himself? You put Trump on the stand? You're prepared to defend him on all the things he has said. You're not prepared for what he might say on under oath in court. Now, as I said, I watched the conservative TV channels to see how they were presenting the indictment yesterday. And to them, it's all about politics. Never mind that this was the work of independent special counsel Jack Smith, not the Biden administration, and that all the unnamed, unindicted co-conspirators appear to be Republicans and Trump lawyers, identified in the press as co-conspirator number 1, Rudy Giuliani, number 2, John Eastman, number 3, Sidney Powell. Now there's 3 cronies right there. Number 4, Trump Justice Department member Jeffrey Clark, who for a short time was acting attorney general, who wanted to get the Justice Department in on this. The imprimatur of the Justice Department to spread more of the Trump lie that Trump had won the election. There's Kenneth Chesborough, number 5. Number 6 was described as an unidentified aide. They may all become named co-defendants or become a star witness like Pence. But when you see the unnamed, unindicted co-conspirators, it's just a reminder. This indictment exposes an attempted steal of our democracy, a modern coup. It's not a democratic conspiracy. Still, as the polls show, the majority of Republicans would rather believe in Trump and not the facts. This is the existential crisis of our democracy as it stands today. And that's why this case is more important than you can imagine. We're either a country that believes in the rule of law and holds our leaders accountable, or our country is about the cult of personality and we allow the use of lies and deceit to destroy our nation and then give those corrupt leaders free rein. Trump had the audacity to counter the indictment, saying that it reminded him of the way Nazi Germany, or the way despots, or the way dictators act. It doesn't make sense, but it does feed into the Trump reaction to things like an indictment. You lie about it, you say it enough times, maybe it comes true. Special Counsel Jack Smith is not a dictator. This is not about the Biden administration or government going against Donald Trump. It was not, as Rudy Giuliani seems to suggest, there's almost like people, they're saying they have this disease about an anti-Trump disease. No, it's nothing of the sort. The delusion is all on the part of Republican partisans who are biased toward Donald Trump. So we'll hear all this in the next 24 hours until Trump is arraigned on Thursday. And who knows exactly how that zoo will unfold, or if it will be a zoo. It shouldn't be, but you never know. It's Thursday afternoon. Trump already still claiming phony witch hunt, election interference. You'll hear that term a lot. He's claiming he's victim number 1. But if these new allegations about changing the vote of an election Trump didn't win are true, my dad, my Filipino colonized immigrant father, he would have known the real victims in a heartbeat. It's the voters. It's the voters. They're at the heart of the democracy. That's why this indictment is different from the others, from the other two. That's why this is the one to pay attention to, because if this falls, our democracy will not be the same. So it boils down to what the jury says. In the meantime, Trump, who doesn't seem to have much of a case before a jury, but he does as long as he has his voice. He's got the court of public opinion, and that's where he's banging away, making that outlandish claim that the indictment is indicative of how it works in a dictatorship. He's claiming victimhood. He's not the victim. The victim It's the voters, the will of the voters, which would have been denied had Trump succeeded by overturning, stealing the 2020 election. So I just had to get that off my chest. You see that? You know, I was going to like take some time, as I promised. I was going to devote my time to my show where I talk about my dad. It's almost, I'm thinking about my dad. That's why, you know, because who taught me about democracy? Who taught me about the value of the vote? How important it was? Like I said, we didn't have much when we were growing up. Didn't own a car, didn't own a home. You know, I had one pair of tennis shoes until I wore them out. You know, one pair of jeans. So you wear clothes, wear them out, then buy some new ones in a year or two. I mean, I wasn't poor, but we were, but it was the 50s and 60s, and we didn't have to keep up with the Joneses. We just had to catch the bus on time, and you know, it was a simple time. That's why I said the only real opportunity my father had was the opportunity to participate as a voter in American democracy. That's why he cherished his right to vote. And that's why a lot of people, when they see the indictment, they might see that, see the indictment, they see it listed as the, count 4, 18 USC 241, conspiracy against rights. It's voting rights. Same civil rights law that was used to protect voting rights of blacks from the KKK. And it's easy just to sort of like say, okay, that's a nice big issue kind of thing. But Emil, come on, all the lies. No, all the lies were used to strike at that thing, that one conspiracy, number 4, that took away the vote, that stripped the vote from the people, the will of the people. That's democracy. So I just want you to understand why we can't get complacent. We can't feel like another one of these indictments, right? We got the first one, we got the second one. Okay, important. We got the third one now, a fourth one in Georgia. Fani Willis, she says she's ready to go. That could come, and that includes Georgia, about the attempts in Georgia to swing the election, although Georgia's mentioned in this one, in the third. Man, imagine 10,000 dead voters was the claim in Georgia. And I think the indictment says, at best, there were maybe 2 instances, 2 voters. And Trump was coming in and saying, well, there was at least 10,000 dead voters. Another lie. So if you go to ALDEF, AALDEF.org/blog, go to the column. And at the bottom, you can access the, download the PDF. Read my column, The Third Trump Indictment and Your Voting Rights. Download the PDF. It's 45 pages, and it's a reason why you should be concerned. He tried to steal your vote. Trump tried to steal your vote. That's about as plain as you can make it. And unless you see it that way, you're not going to have the ire to say, you might even be bored. Oh, not another one of these. No, this is something to be irate about. And I have to admit, I was almost complacent myself, saying, well, sure, it's about the lies, right? It's about, Trump knowingly trying to, just preserve his own power. Yeah. But who were the victims along the way? It was your vote, my vote. Whether you voted against Trump or not, it was just all the voters. Because he was trying to just change the outcome, the real outcome of the election. Replace it with a fake one. The guy who claims fake news all the time was willing to replace the real election with a fake one. That's why we had to come on today. And we'll be repeating this. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm preparing for my show. It's at the San Francisco Fringe, which is why I'm taking some time. But check it out. Emil, Amok, Los NPR host. They talk about what it's like being a person of color in the media. What it's like being a person of color, the wrong color, in America. What it's like to be at NPR. And what it's like to be at Harvard. I talk about the affirmative action case. A lot's changed, lots happened. And I'm going to tell you how I dealt with it all. How I got it off my chest, got it out of my life so that I can live with what we have now to deal with. Democracy on the brink. A president who believes his own lies, willing to steal a democracy, willing to steal your votes. We got to act on that. I mean, we can't just let that go. We got to act on that. But we share the load, right? We're the people of the United States of America. Okay. I take care of a lot of my problems, and I mentioned this in my show, stand-up meditation. I'm standing up now. It always begins with a little loving kindness, a little metta, METTA. But, loving kindness doesn't mean like, you start hugging yourself to death. No. It begins with offering it up to you. And then it comes back. Hey, that's something Trump can learn. Offer it up to others. It comes back. Twofold, fourfold, however many folds you want. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Hey, go to eventbrite.com, San Francisco Fringe. Emil Amok, Los NPR host. Get that link. Get a ticket. See me August 12th, 17th, and 19th. Hey, also amok.com. Check replays of the show. I'll be popping up as I erupt. But check out all the replays. Till next time. Mahal Kita.